Behind every viral video lies a dangerous truth. Ordinary people push deadly limits, live streaming fatal mistakes as cameras captured their final moments. These 5 stories show how the pursuit of viral fame can lead to devastating consequences. It was July 15th, 2021, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The afternoon heat exceeded 95 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity was heavy, and the residential neighborhood was largely quiet as residents stayed indoors. 19-year-old Nora Clark had just returned from a dance workshop held earlier that day at a local studio. A sophomore studying communications, she balanced her classes with part-time work at the campus recreation center and volunteered at a youth dance program on weekends. Instructors often praised her discipline, but noted her tendency to push through physical limits without rest. The afternoon workshop emphasized endurance and breath control, with prolonged movement drills conducted in warm conditions. By the time it ended shortly after 3 p.m., participants were visibly fatigued. Nora left feeling lightheaded and dehydrated after skipping lunch and underestimating her fluid loss. While driving home, she recalled online claims suggesting underwater breath holding could improve lung capacity for dancers. Still in her training clothes and alone, she decided to test the idea herself and stream it for a small, familiar audience. Knowing her neighbors were out of town and aware of a spare key near their backyard gate, she accessed the pool shortly after 4 p.m., positioned her phone on a shaded poolside chair, and began a live stream focused on breath control practice. Viewers joined gradually, never more than a few dozen, but several commented as Nora explained what she planned to do. She entered the pool fully clothed in athletic wear, wading into the deeper end where the water reached roughly 8 feet. For the first several minutes, the live stream appeared uneventful. Nora floated near the surface, chatting casually with viewers and occasionally wiping water from her eyes. She mentioned feeling tired from the earlier workshop, but brushed it off. At 4:17 p.m., she told viewers she was going to attempt a longer breath hold. She stood at the pool's edge, took several rapid, deep breaths, and submerged herself, settling cross-legged on the pool floor. From the camera's fixed angle, only the calm surface of the water was visible, interrupted occasionally by faint ripples. According to later findings by investigators and the medical examiner, the sequence that followed was consistent with shallow water blackout. Hyperventilation before submersion reduced carbon dioxide levels in her blood, delaying the body's natural urge to breathe while oxygen levels continued to fall. About 90 seconds into the breath hold, viewers began commenting on how long she had remained underwater. Initially, the remarks were casual. After 2 minutes passed, concern grew. The water's surface remained still. There was no visible struggle and no resurfacing. The live stream continued uninterrupted. Based on water depth, temperature, and the absence of resurfacing movement, investigators concluded Nora likely lost consciousness underwater and remained submerged for several additional minutes. With no one physically present to notice or intervene, the situation went unnoticed as the stream continued silently. Viewers attempted to flag the live stream and left urgent comments urging her to surface. The phone remained propped on the pool chair, continuing to stream the empty pool. A nearby resident was alerted by repeated notifications from a family member watching the stream and entered the backyard through the unlocked gate. Emergency services were called at 4:29 p.m. First responders arrived to find Nora unresponsive at the bottom of the pool. She was removed from the water and CPR was initiated, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner ruled the cause of death as drowning due to shallow water blackout, with dehydration and physical exhaustion listed as contributing factors. No drugs or alcohol were found in her system. The homeowners returned early from their trip after being notified by police. No charges were filed related to the pool access, and authorities classified the incident as an accidental death. The live recording was taken down later that evening. For many viewers, the realization that they had been watching a fatal accident unfold in real time came only after the stream abruptly ended. Nora's breath hold challenge had ended in tragedy in the still water, but hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, another content creator was about to discover that intelligence couldn't protect him from his own reckless ambition. It was March 8, 2019, in Norfolk, Virginia. In a converted warehouse district repurposed into small studio apartments, thick concrete walls muted outside noise and allowed residents to keep irregular hours without disturbance. Kevin Hartwell lived alone in one of the units, a compact studio that doubled as both his living space and his streaming setup. Kevin was 24 years old and had recently moved out of his parents' home. He spent most of his time gaming online and trying to grow a small content channel focused on reaction videos and short experiments. His audience was modest but active, and Kevin was eager to find something that would finally push his channel into wider visibility. In the days leading up to March 8th, Kevin had been watching a wave of viral videos showing people placing unusual objects into microwaves to capture dramatic reactions. The clips relied on escalation, each experiment slightly riskier than the last. Kevin believed the danger was exaggerated and that careful planning would keep him in control. He spent several evenings preparing, clearing space on his kitchen counter and positioning his camera to capture the microwave from the front. Kevin researched what objects produced the most visual reactions and convinced himself he understood the risks well enough to manage them. On Tuesday afternoon, Kevin went live to test a series of microwave experiments for his viewers. The live stream began with small demonstrations. Kevin placed utensils and bits of foil into the microwave, producing brief sparks and flashes that drew excited reactions from his chat. Each successful test reinforced his confidence. He stood close to the appliance, adjusting the camera between runs and watching viewer comments scroll across his screen. As the stream continued, viewers encouraged him to escalate. Kevin agreed and indicated that he had saved one last experiment. He retrieved a sealed metal thermos from the counter, an insulated container designed to retain heat and pressure. Kevin placed it inside the microwave and closed the door, stepping back only slightly so he could stay within frame. At the countdown's end, Kevin activated the microwave. For several seconds, nothing appeared to happen. Then, the interior light flickered, and the microwave began vibrating unevenly against the counter. The sound shifted from a steady hum to a strained, rattling tone. Pressure built rapidly inside the sealed container. Without warning, the thermos ruptured violently. The force blew the microwave door open, sending metal fragments and shattered glass outward into the room. The appliance itself lurched forward, partially lifting off the counter. Kevin was struck at close range and thrown backward, partially disappearing out of frame as debris scattered across the kitchen. The camera shook from the force of the blast, leaving the microwave tilted at an angle on the counter. For several seconds, the live stream continued without movement. Kevin did not get back up, and the scene remained unchanged as alarmed reactions filled the chat. Emergency services were contacted after viewers flagged the stream and attempted to trace the location through Kevin's account information. Responders arrived to find Kevin unresponsive on the floor of his apartment, surrounded by debris from the explosion. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner ruled the death accidental, citing catastrophic traumatic injuries caused by debris and force generated when a pressurized container exploded during unsafe microwave experimentation. Investigators determined the sealed thermos had ruptured under rapid pressure buildup, creating a blast force strong enough to cause fatal injuries at close range. The live stream recording was preserved as evidence and later removed from public access. Kevin's channel went offline shortly afterward. The incident ended as a fatal accident that unfolded live, witnessed by viewers in real time. It was September 12, 2020 in Mobile, Alabama. The warm evening air carried the scent of magnolia blossoms through the quiet suburban streets. Most of the neighborhood's residents were winding down their Saturday night, with porch lights beginning to flicker on as darkness approached. Vanessa Bell was 27 years old and appeared relaxed and energetic as she climbed into the back of her friend's pickup truck after celebrating a friend's birthday party. She had graduated from a local university just 4 months earlier and had recently started her first real job at a marketing firm in downtown Mobile. The birthday party was held at a friend's house in a quiet suburban neighborhood about 15 minutes from Vanessa's apartment. She'd been drinking moderately and by 10 p.m. appeared tipsy. When her friends offered to drive her home, Vanessa chose to ride in the bed of the pickup truck, enjoying the warm evening air as they traveled slowly through nearby residential streets. As they pulled away from the party, Vanessa was feeling energetic and social. She pulled out her phone and started a casual live stream on social media, wanting to share the fun moment with her followers. The music from the truck's speakers was loud enough for her to hear clearly, and she began dancing along to the beat, completely absorbed in the moment and the positive energy from the party. The live stream attracted 100 viewers, mostly friends and co-workers who enjoyed Vanessa's spontaneous content. She was laughing and moving to the music, her long hair whipping in the wind, as Hunter maintained a steady speed just under 30 miles per hour through the suburban streets. The truck bed felt stable, and Vanessa appeared comfortable as the truck moved through the neighborhood. For the first 10 minutes of the drive, everything was perfect. The streets were mostly empty, with only occasional oncoming traffic, and Hunter was driving carefully and predictably. Vanessa continued dancing and chatting with her live stream audience, who were commenting on how much fun she looked like she was having. But at 10:23 p.m., as they approached an intersection in the neighborhood, a large dog suddenly bolted into the street, running directly into the truck's path and giving the driver little time to react. Hunter immediately recognized the danger and tried to warn Vanessa, but the loud music and her focus on the live stream prevented her from reacting in time. Alcohol had slowed her reflexes and awareness. With no other option, Hunter slammed on the brakes and swerved to avoid the dog. Investigators later explained that the sudden stop and sharp turn caused Vanessa, who was standing in the truck bed, to continue moving forward as the vehicle rapidly slowed and changed direction. Vanessa was thrown forward over the tailgate, landing hard on the asphalt pavement at the intersection. Her head struck the concrete curb with tremendous force, causing immediate and catastrophic injuries. The live stream continued briefly from her phone, which had landed nearby, capturing the chaotic aftermath before the stream abruptly ended. Several witnesses immediately called emergency services, and first responders arrived within 8 minutes due to the number of emergency calls. Paramedics found Vanessa unresponsive with severe head trauma and initiated emergency treatment at the scene. She was transported to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead shortly after arrival due to catastrophic head injuries. The medical examiner later ruled her death accidental, citing blunt force head trauma sustained after being ejected from the moving vehicle. Alcohol impairment and riding unsecured in the truck bed were listed as contributing factors. The dog was unharmed, having successfully avoided the truck and returned safely to its yard. Hunter and Amanda were physically uninjured, but devastated by the tragic outcome of what had started as a simple ride home from a birthday celebration. Make sure you're subscribed. We've got 2 more devastating stories that show just how dangerous the pursuit of viral fame can become. It was November the 3rd, 2022, in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The small garage apartment sat behind a modest single-family home, the kind of converted space that landlords rented to tenants looking for affordable housing. The structure had been built decades earlier and lacked the modern ventilation systems found in newer construction. Vincent Castillo was 30 years old and sat alone in his small living space, reviewing job listings on his laptop after being laid off from his construction job 3 weeks earlier, when the company downsized due to economic pressures. He'd been sending money home to help with his sister's college expenses until he lost his job. With his savings dwindling, he was struggling to secure new work in an increasingly competitive market. That week, Vincent had been watching his 19-year-old cousin Marcus earn money from fire challenge videos posted online. The trend involved briefly igniting rubbing alcohol on the skin before extinguishing the flames for dramatic effect. Seeing the income Marcus was making, Vincent believed he could attempt the challenge without serious risk. With 8 years of construction experience handling torches and minor fires, he believed his background set him apart. He spent 2 days preparing, arranging buckets of water, wet towels, and a borrowed fire extinguisher in his garage apartment, confident that careful planning and experience would prevent anything from going wrong. On that Thursday evening, Vincent set up his phone to live stream the demonstration. He wanted to show proper fire challenge technique while emphasizing safety precautions, framing the demonstration as a safer alternative to similar videos circulating online. His plan was to start with a small controlled burn on his forearm, using the same rubbing alcohol that Marcus had been using. Vincent began the stream by explaining his construction background and safety setup to his modest audience of about 20 viewers. He applied rubbing alcohol to his left forearm multiple times during the demonstration, confident from his experience with minor burns on job sites. Each application created small controlled flames, exactly what he had expected based on his research. But Vincent's garage apartment had poor ventilation, a factor he hadn't fully considered in his planning. As the demonstration continued, Small amounts of spilled alcohol accumulated on the workbench and nearby surfaces inside the enclosed garage apartment. Vincent remained focused on the live stream, unaware of how flammable liquid had spread across the cluttered workspace. For his finale, Vincent decided to create a larger flame by applying more alcohol to his forearm. As he brought the lighter toward his arm, the open bottle of rubbing alcohol on the workbench became a critical hazard in the confined space. As he shifted his position, Vincent accidentally knocked over the open bottle of rubbing alcohol with his elbow. The spilled liquid ignited instantly, spreading fire across the wooden workbench and into nearby papers and cardboard storage boxes. The burning alcohol spread immediately to cleaning supplies and cardboard boxes stored nearby, creating a rapidly expanding fire that filled the small garage with toxic smoke and flames within seconds. Vincent was quickly overcome by thick smoke and heat before he could reach the exit, which was blocked by the spreading fire. The live stream briefly showed smoke filling the room before the stream abruptly cut out. The fire department responded automatically to smoke alarm alerts from the main house, arriving within 6 minutes of the initial ignition. Firefighters found Vincent unresponsive inside the garage apartment and removed him from the structure. He was pronounced dead at the scene due to severe smoke inhalation and thermal injuries. The medical examiner later ruled his death accidental, citing smoke inhalation resulting from an alcohol-fueled fire in an enclosed space. The garage was a total loss, but firefighters were able to save the main house and prevent the fire from spreading to neighboring properties. Investigators later determined that the fire had burned for approximately 4 minutes before being brought under control. The garage fire had consumed Vincent's last hope along with his life. But hundreds of miles away in Indiana, a college student's wounded pride was about to prove that liquid courage could be the most dangerous drug of all. It was February 17, 2023, in Bloomington, Indiana. A crowded fraternity basement pulsed with music and weekend energy, its low ceiling and concrete walls amplifying the chaos of a Friday night party. Bryce Nelson was 22 years old, a business major who worked weekends at his uncle's car dealership and was known for being generous with his money, always buying rounds for friends. He was fiercely protective of his younger sister and had a reputation as someone who could be counted on. But Bryce was highly competitive, particularly when he felt his abilities were being questioned in front of others. The neck nomination trend had been circulating for weeks, with students challenging each other to drink increasingly dangerous amounts of alcohol on camera before nominating others to top their performance. Bryce had watched several videos and felt insulted by what he considered Derek's amateur-level challenge. A bottle of wine was nothing compared to what Bryce could handle, and he was determined to outdo the challenge in front of his peers. By 11:30 p.m., Bryce had been drinking steadily since 8 p.m., but remained coherent when a drinking challenge appeared on his phone. As several fraternity members gathered nearby, he announced his intent to respond, set up his phone in the basement, and selected a large bottle of vodka with beer chasers to outdo the original challenge. The live stream began at 11:47 p.m., with Bryce explaining the challenge and showing off the vodka bottle to his viewers. The party crowd was encouraging him, cheering and chanting his name as he prepared for what he called the ultimate neck nomination response. At 11:49 p.m., Bryce began drinking directly from the vodka bottle, tilting his head back and pouring the clear liquid down his throat as quickly as possible. The crowd counted along as he drained the entire bottle in under 2 minutes, an impressive feat that drew cheers and applause from the watching fraternity members. But Bryce wasn't finished. Without pausing to let the alcohol settle, he immediately grabbed the first beer chaser and downed it in several large gulps, followed quickly by the second and third beers. The crowd was going wild, convinced they were witnessing a challenge that would be talked about for the rest of the night. Over the next 20 minutes, the effects of the alcohol intensified as it continued to take hold. Bryce initially appeared fine, laughing and accepting cheers from the crowd, but his coordination and speech gradually worsened as the delayed effects of the alcohol took hold. Around 12:15 a.m., Bryce became noticeably unsteady, slurring his words and leaning against nearby furniture as the alcohol hit him all at once. By approximately 12:30 a.m., Bryce collapsed to the floor and began vomiting. He soon lost consciousness, and vomit obstructed his airway. Bryce lost consciousness on the basement floor near a wall where several others were also sitting or lying down. In the low lighting and crowded space, partygoers assumed he had passed out from drinking, something not uncommon at fraternity parties. The party continued for over an hour. Music remained loud, visibility was poor, and Bryce was largely obscured by other guests who had also sat or laid down along the basement walls. It wasn't until someone tried to wake him as the party began winding down that they realized something was seriously wrong. Emergency responders arrived at 2:15 a.m., but Bryce was unresponsive and showed no signs of recovery despite resuscitation efforts. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner later ruled his death accidental, citing acute alcohol intoxication with aspiration as the cause. The live stream captured the drinking challenge and Bryce's collapse on the basement floor. The stream continued briefly amid confusion and crowd movement before cutting out as the situation escalated and emergency responders were called. Thanks for watching. Want to see more? Click on your screen now.